Hey, what is up guys, back again with another Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation technical video. So in this video, we are going to talk about the data entities, which is a part of the data import and export framework of the D365 Finance and Operation. So in this video, we are going to talk about how to create data entity, how to import and export the data through the data entities. Data import and export management is a large topic, so we cannot cover in this video. So this is the part one of the many videos that are going to come on this channel. So if you are new here on this channel, please consider subscribing, because every week I'm going to post videos about the Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation or Power Platform. So without wasting any time, let's jump to the Visual Studio and see in action how to create data entities. So we are in the Visual Studio. Here we will see how to create data entity. There are two ways to create data entities. I will be explaining both of them one by one. But before creating any data entity, you need some prerequisites in your table. So here I have created one demo table. So in this table, there are some things that you would need, like in your table you would need before creating data entities. So one of them, the most important part of your table, which is the primary index. So your table should have always a primary, a unique index. And the second part is that your primary index should not have the rec ID as a part. So you cannot use the rec ID as the primary key or the rec ID as a part of your cluster or unique index. So in this demo table, you can see I have two fields, one primary index, which is the code. And if you go to the properties of this table, you can see I have added as a primary and the cluster index. So we are done with the table. This is what you need before creating a data entity, is one primary index without rec ID. So there are two ways to create data entities. I will be explaining the first and easiest way. So you have to open your table in your designer. Just right click on your table, go to the add-ins, and you will see the create data entity. This is it. Just click on this option and your entity will be created. All the object required for data entities like privileges, staging table, and entity would be created. If you open the data entity, you will see your fields. If you go to the keys, you will see the primary index as your table. And if you go to the properties of the data entities, you will see like staging table name and other things. There is one thing that you have to make sure that the collection name of the data entity should not be without the prefix. Like for example, here the staging table is created with the demo as a prefix, but the collection and the entity name is not. So you have to give the prefix same as your project. So this is that you have to do, and because you may encounter one error like this public entity name already exists in the system. If you want to add other data sources, like multiple data sources in your entity, you can do that. Just go to the data source, and here under the data source node, you can right click and add the new data source as you want. But we are not going to add multiple data sources because we have only one table. So that's it for the first step. You can then build and sync your project and move to the next step, which is importing and exporting. But we are going to see the second way of creating data entities. So let's delete the first one and we will create the same data entity using the another way. So data entity is deleted. So for the second way, you have to manually create the data entity objects. Right click on your project, add, and the new item. Under the data models, you have to select the data entity, give the data entity name with the suffix as entity at the end of your entity name. Then you have to click on add. Then you will be provided with the wizard where you will select the primary data source of your entity, which is demo device table. The entity category, which is master or transaction, you have to choose based on your requirement. This is the master. And the same thing, you have to give the suffix for your prefix for your public name of the entities, which is other thing looks fine. Click on next. Then the next screen will be provided with the list of the fields. So you have to select the field that you require to add in the entity. So we need both the fields. Click on next. Then your entity would be created again. So this is the same object that we have previously created. So there's no difference, but there are two ways to create entity. So you have to build and sync your project, and then we will move to the next step. So we are in the front end. I have opened my demo table in the browser. So there are two records. So we will first export the data, and then we will import the new lines to this table using the data import and export framework of the D365 Finance and Operation. So let's go to the data management. So to go to this screen, you have to, the path of this screen is to workspace, then come down and you will see the data management option here. So before importing and exporting anything using the data entity, you have to refresh the data entity list. So in the data management screen, you can just see the framework parameter option. Click on this one and go to the entity settings, and here you will see the refresh entity list. Click on this one. It will take a couple of minutes to refresh the entity list. Then you can import and export. So after the entity list is refreshed, you just click on the export, and then we will give the name of our project, which is demo export, and then we will give the format, which would be Excel, and the entity name. So here you can see demo device table entity, add your entity, and then you can click on the export option and then export now. So here you can see the two lines are exported. You can download the file by clicking on this download file. Your file would be downloaded here. You can see in the Excel. So here there are the two records that we have added in our table. So we will import the new lines in our table. So you have to go back to your data management screen. Then we will create the import project. So here we will create a demo device import, give the format which would be Excel, and the entity name. And then here you have to upload the Excel file. So it would be this one. You have to go to the import option and then import now. So as you can see in the import project, there are two records created. So if you go back to the table and refresh the table, you can see new records are imported. So this is how you can create data entities in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation, and then import and export the data. So in the next coming video, we will be creating some complex data entities, the data entities without the primary key, and then we will see how to do coding behind the data entities. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing, share this video, and we will see in the next video. Bye.